Oh, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 82 of Benching and Bullshitting. It's been a pretty good week. I got some things to talk about. No videos tonight. Videos are kind of far and few between with us anyway. If I have something cool to talk about in the gym, something like that. But, overall, we'll talk about the workouts from this week. But as far as cool stuff goes, big benches. Now, I did some big benching. I don't know if you can see my eye right here. Got some busted blood vessels under my eyes there. But, so we'll get into it here. But, again, if anybody's hopping on, watching tonight, I appreciate it. If you could hit the like button, that means a lot to me and Katie. And I love setting this up and coming on here once a week and just bullshitting with you guys, talking about bench, everything bench. I do have accompanying me here tonight. I've got my, of course, salt water standing nearby, homemade, that is. Thank you, Toby Hurley, once again for helping me out with that. And I've got my weight gainer also. So, yes, it was a good week. Well, let's get into it. First off, we've got James on here. He says, "Hi, Jimmy. Hope all is well. Great reps with the 1,005 for 9 in the video. Thank you. I posted that to my YouTube channel not too long ago. How long does it take for your CNS to recover from a max attempt?" Well, something like that. Because if you do something for 9 or 10 reps, it's not taxing your CNS quite as much, in my opinion, as, say, going up to a 1 rep max on something that I've never fucking done before. That would tax my CNS way more than doing reps like that. So I didn't feel hardly busted whatsoever, which Bryce says, "You look busted up right now." Yeah, it's hard to see with the lighting, but yeah, under my eyes right here, these dots, that's all busted blood vessels from yesterday. Even though yesterday wasn't that good. It wasn't as good of a workout. There wasn't as much hype in my body. But yeah, the 1,005 for 9, if you do something for 9 or 10 reps, that's not taxing your CNS as much. That's why that old classic example of the difference between bodybuilding and powerlifting as far as what they're training. So the bodybuilder trains in reps of like 10 to 12, sometimes higher depending on the body part. So you take a bodybuilder who can bench 500 pounds for like 10 reps, 12 reps. That's rare. That's impressive. Now take a powerlifter who can bench that for like 2 reps. You would think the bodybuilder could max out more than the powerlifter, but that's actually sometimes not true, because the powerlifter, 500 pounds for the powerlifter is max effort, super fucking heavy. The powerlifter has trained and has to develop CNS on top of the physical body that the bodybuilder does not have. If the bodybuilder trains in reps of 10 to 12, yeah, 500 pounds is a lot, but if you can do it for 10 to 12 reps, it's not that heavy. See, it's not like he's doing like 1 rep maxes with 500. He's doing 12 reps with it. So the powerlifter can max out higher than the bodybuilder could because of that rep range difference. So doing that 1,005 for 9 wasn't that bad. I mean, physically, I was exhausted. I was tired afterwards, but not bad. So again, if you're hopping on, please hit the like button. Also, drop a question in the box. If you got anything for me, I like to come on here and bullshit with y'all. Answer questions. That's one of my most important reasons for coming on here, spreading as much knowledge as possible and talking to everybody. So please, if you have anything for me, throw it on there. We're talking about workouts and stuff. You can follow along everything that I do in the gym at patreon.com. And right now is a really exciting time for that, because a week ago, I marked officially that I am training for the 1,500 pound bench press. I decided last Monday, since the workout went so damn well, I officially feel like I'm back. We're done with the move. That major life change is over. We're getting back to normal. We got a routine down. So if you want to follow what I do in the gym, everything that we're talking about here tonight, besides the big things I post online, the behind the scenes work, the dumbbell work, the raw work, the triceps, the back work, deadlifts. Yeah, I deadlift once in a while, actually once a week. The forearm work, secondary bench day, all that stuff can be found on patreon.com, and it's $10 a month. If you don't want to go through Patreon, which I tend to push more, you can also find the exact same content if you go to my YouTube channel and go to YouTube members. $10 a month, same content, same workouts. Again, all the behind the scenes stuff that I do in the gym can be found there. And I am officially have announced that the road to 1,500 pounds is officially back on in the on switch position. Because again, moving I was going to attempt it this year, but then moving, Virginia to Ohio was quite the thing. So, but we're back, and I'm happy to be here. So, Thomas says, "Hey Jim, hope you're doing well. What's good?" Oh, we're talking about some good stuff right now. I'm kind of busted up right here. I got some blood vesselage busted from yesterday's workout, which is incredible because I only did a double with 1105 full range. I just hit 2 reps, man. Damn it. We have a more fast-paced style of training at Gym Therapy. They have a more fast-paced style of training where it's, if you're on deck, you're getting your wrists wrapped. You don't load your own weights, but everybody's encouraged to spot and load each other, and it's just faster paced than I'm used to, and I'm trying to adjust to that, and and the heat, it's a little bit hot, but we had a fan going and the door was open, so that helped. I was just finding myself kind of getting winded, but I did my first break-in. I call it my break-in set, where I first hop into the shirt, my first shirted set. I just went I did 5 plates. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plates. Then I went straight to 825, hit it from a 2 board for a single. The bar actually whipped upwards when I was locking it out because I had so much speed. It went whoop, whoop like that. Then I went to 1,045 to a 1 board for a single, and that just flew up like 225. Went to 1105. I hit 2 reps full range. On the second rep, I threw it back over my face just a little bit too much, and I made the correction. I pulled it kind of back out, and then I was just like I wasn't in the mood almost, which sounds so weird because like I'm the bench guy, but I made the correction. I pulled the weight back out, and I just didn't feel like doing it. It was first time being under 1,100 pounds and probably arguably a couple of months, and it just. I don't know. I just wasn't in the mood. The 2 reps were great. If you saw them on Patreon, they moved fantastic. I was hoping to do 5 or 6, maybe more full range, but man, it just wasn't my day. The after work, the accessory works were great. I was really happy with that. Did machine press and machine dip movement and dumbbell press right after the bench. So. Let's see. Thomas says, just out of curiosity, supercharged RAM versus F8 Widowmaker 1-ply, which is stronger in your opinion? The F8 Widowmaker absolutely is stronger than the supercharged RAM. Even a single loop Widowmaker will outperform the supercharged RAM, because supercharged RAM is made of very, 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 very stretchy wrap material. It's actually made of Titan's max RPM wrap material. That those neon, that has neon orange and yellow, orange and green colors. Those are their max RPM wraps. Are very, very, very stretchy, non-supportive. And the Widowmakers are made of all black, very stiff material. So absolutely go with that. Shane Klein just hopped on. What's up? He owns, him and Kelly own Gym Therapy there in Louisville. So happy to have you on here. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I was just talking about the workout that we had yesterday. Let's see. David Derrickson says, what ply shirt did you do the 1105 for 2? I think it was a 3. May have been a 4. It's a bigger shirt on me where I can touch like 1100 with. So I couldn't at this moment tell you what ply it was, so I don't remember. But it didn't work out the way I wanted. I was hoping for 5 or 6, maybe even 7 or 8 full range reps. So the first 2 reps move so damn good. But like I said, so when you're doing reps, here's the thing. When you're doing reps and equipment, let me back up. When you're doing, let me lower this just a tad bit. There we go. Probably went back to the original position. So when you're doing singles, right? When you're doing singles and equipment, we don't follow a straight path on the way up, right? So we come down in a straight path. Ideally, you want the bar out over your touch point, straight down to your touch point, and then you're going to follow, at least when it comes to the top quarter of the movement. So when you're locking the weight out, we kind of drift over the face just a little bit. Just a little bit. So the problem is if you're going to do more than one rep. So if you start, I'm trying to get in frame here. If you, I'm going to keep with me here. I'm going to have my arms bent, but just keep it. I'm trying to simulate a bench here in frame. So if I bring the weight out over my touch point, this is my touch point, and I go straight down, and then I throw it over my face. Now here I am. So do I take a curved path to go back down to my touch point, right? Or do I chuck the weight up over my face and then pull it back out down to the touch point? So my point is, when you're doing reps like that, so in that 1,005 for 9 that you saw last week, every single rep, I was pushing in a straight line because I don't want to have to. So if I keep chucking the weight over my face, that means my starting position is further and further back away. My touch point's here, just for example. I want to stay here and do my reps, not here over the face. And then I'm taking a curved path down to that touch point every single rep. It's a lot of wasted energy. It's inefficient. Or you have to chuck it over your face and then pull the weight back out. So when you're doing reps, you want to push in a straight line. This is especially important when you're doing like boards. So I chucked it over my face, my second rep, and I pulled it back. That's why I held it there for a couple of seconds, because I was pulling it back out. And then I was like, and it was heavy, and I was like, just take it. Just damn. I hate when that happens, but it happens because everybody is still human. Oh, Matt Brooks is on here. I was hanging out with Matt this weekend. Good to have you on here, man. I was at the IPA Worlds this weekend. I'm going to sneeze at some point. I always like to warn you guys because they're usually pretty violent. I'm going to talk about the IPA Worlds here in a moment. Once I get to Thomas, he says, my full range touch is 450 in the Supercharged Ram. Long ago versus an easy 460-ish F8 Widowmaker single. Cool. I mean, that's what I was assuming. But it felt, for memory, the Supercharged Ram was harder to fight through. Well, the design of the Supercharged Ram, it's not one piece. It's a flat panel with arm cuffs sewn on the sides. You have failure points with that design. I am way happier training with my F8 Widowmakers than I ever was in a Supercharged Ram or a Super Ram or any of those Rams. Ram, Super Ram, and the Supercharged. The Widowmakers, in my opinion, are just a superior design. They're more simple. There's no failure points. Easier to get on and off. If you get a multi-looped one, you get a double or a triple, you have literally 3 pieces in one. And you can do 1 loop, 2 loop, or 3. You got to size it appropriately, of course, but very, 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 very beneficial tool to have. Matt Brooks says, was that not the funnest meet? Yeah, I've been to a lot of meets in 16 years, and this was, me and Katie both had said it was very much one of the most well-run ones that we had been in attendance of, especially coming from, it's very different for me to be on the side of judging a competition instead of being the competitor. I will be honest, I love being a competitor way more than being a judge. But part of our philosophy is, of course, you lift heavy, be kind, give back. So part of giving back means you willingly giving up some of your time, going to meets, becoming a judge, volunteering your time, of course, and all that stuff. But yeah, that means a lot to us too, Matt. I appreciate you having us down there. It was a blast. Absolutely. So yeah, we went to the IPA Worlds. It was in Bristol, Virginia. Yeah, we just left Virginia, and we were back in Virginia just this weekend. Hang on one sec, guys. Didn't want to do that with the mic on. So we went down there. It was about I think it was 6 hours. I was going to say 5.5. It was 6 hours to get down, 6 hours back. Not a bad drive at all. I had actually never been. So we take 77 north and south basically to get long distances in this part of Ohio. And whenever we went back to our part of Virginia, which was the northern Virginia, we'd go down 77 about 30 miles, and then we would get on 70 that runs east and west. So going home, we would take 70 east and then go a bunch of different roads that way. This time we went 77 south for like almost 200 fucking miles. I had never been more than 30 miles south on 77. So that was the first for me. And I lived up here in Ohio for like 20 years. So, yeah, we got to go down there. IPA Worlds held in Bristol, Virginia this year. Normally it's held in Texas, I think in the Houston area. It came up to Virginia, and Matt Brooks was, of course, the meet director. The Marhefkas were up, as well as Claude. There's a Claude there. I forget exactly, but I'm not trying to be an ass. But, yeah, it was cool. I was a judge. Got to be on the platform almost the entire meet, besides when I had to, eat or whatever, or take a quick break. But Mark Schley was there. Fred Fisher was there. A lot of big competitors was there. Got to watch Rodney, who's also from Northern Virginia. Claude Mumpower. You said his name right. Thank you. Claude. Got it. Rodney was there from Northern Virginia, and got to judge all three of his squats that were successful: 1140-ish, 1201, and 1253, which was really awesome. Very clean. No knee wraps. He wore knee sleeves this time. He was getting a lot of attention for squatting in the 11s, bare knees, which I applaud him for that. I despise knee wraps. I fucking hate wearing them. So seeing him do that means like, yeah, you don't need fucking knee wraps. Hell yeah. So he squatted 1253 and then moved on to bench. I only head judged his final attempt with 1,003. He got 964 successfully on his second. He did not get 1,003. I judged his 1,003. He brought it up. He got very, very close to lockout. His right arm was not quite there. He did make the bar motionless for just like a split second, but his arm wasn't locked out, and he held it there for half a second. Then he started to drift to that right side. So, yeah, there was no show of control. You definitely want to see that 1,000-pound bench, especially in a full power meet, but he didn't show control at the top. I would have given him a rat call. And then I had to dip out to make the drive back home before the end of deadlift. But I know he pulled somewhere in the neighborhood of like 730 pounds for a 2,964 total, giving him the fourth highest total of all time, which is pretty fucking awesome. Got to witness that. So, yeah, it was fun. And again, trying to give back to the sport as much as possible, and becoming a judge and getting on the platform and doing that and volunteering your time is one of the best ways to do it. And of course, I love being able to get on the platform as a judge and uphold the standard. I love doing that, of course. If you have a problem with the sport or a federation, and you want to see things change, I'm not a believer in getting online and getting in fights, which online fights are the most irrelevant, stupid things on the planet. Or I'm not a fan of making posts and doing all this stuff. What I'm a fan of is action. So becoming a judge, going to meets, upholding the standard, that's action. That is something that you can do actively to make a difference. And of course, as a competitor, getting on the platform, being a competitor and upholding the standard. And if you get a call that you truly believe you don't deserve, say you get a gift, or this is just me rambling. This is our philosophy. This is me rambling at this point, but you get a call, that maybe was not good, or I in fact was not locked out, or my ass was, this far off the pad or something, but have it overturned. Say, no, I know for a fact I wasn't locked out. I don't want that call. Please overturn it. Just having, integrity. But anyway, that was just a long rabbit hole. All in all, great experience being at the IPA Worlds, being so close. I've always wanted to go and possibly compete someday, but it's all the way down in Texas, and that's such a far distance. So being only about 6 hours that was primo. Matt Brooks also says, Rodney is one of the best competitors you could ask for. He doesn't bitch about anything, no matter what, and just rolls with the punches. He said it himself. It's just lifting weights. There you go. That is a great, simple philosophy to have. That is wonderful. Yeah, I've known Rodney off and on. I've known Rodney for a couple of years. Don't mind me. I'm shaking up my weight gainer. Hope you don't hear that, but I'm not a fan of clumps. So, there we go. Yeah, no, I've known him for off and on for a couple of years. He came and lifted with us one time that I can remember on a bench day on Saturday. And it was the first time I had seen him. I think it was the first time he ever held 900 pounds in his hands. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he went to a gram, but he definitely had 900 pounds in his hands. Big, tall, just enormous man. Huge, huge guy. All of his lifts are very, very clean. Yeah, great competitor. He's a hell of a guy. Terry Conjugate is on here. Hello, Terry. He says 2964 total is insane. How's everything, Jimmy? I'm doing very well. Thank you. We're just benching and bullshitting a little bit. We're bullshitting, talking about bench and competing and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's all good, man. We're just talking. I busted myself up a little bit. I got some raccoon eyes from bench yesterday, even though it wasn't that heavy, but it was still a good workout. Matt Brooks says 99.9% sure we'll get Worlds again next year. Okay. Maybe I'll be there as a competitor this time. If it's going to be that close, I mean, that's reasonable distance. I'll drive 6 hours. I'll probably want to be there for at least, drive there Thursday, rest and recover on Friday, go and see some local stuff like we always do, and then compete the next day. I remember everywhere we go, we try to do something fun that's local. So when we came to Chris Jividen's Meet the Hillbilly Havoc in 22, the day before, because we were staying in Charleston, and then we would drive up to Hurricane. So what we did is we drove up past Hurricane. We went all the way to the border. We went to Point Pleasant and got to go to the Mothman, the world's only Mothman museum. And I got to tour that, and that was pretty fun and everything else. They got props from the movie in there, the Mothman Prophecies. Haven't seen that movie but once when I was like 6, so I definitely have to rewatch it. Local stuff, So that his meet and being there in the Airbnb, there was actually Chris's Airbnb he let us have for the night or the 2 nights, and being there with Katie and our friends, and that was fun. That was one of the best meets of that year. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, dude. Speaking of Chris Jividen, thank you, Matt. I mean, don't forget to tell the stories what I meant, Matt says. Chris Jividen, good friend of both of us, and I was just talking about him and his Hillbilly Havoc in West Virginia. I believe he's the West Virginia state chair for the IPA. He was having a pretty good meet. He only got 1 squat. He passed on his second and third, although he told me he has a torn calf. So he was going through a full meet with a torn calf. He squatted in the mid to high 8s, like 870 or 880 or something. Went to bench, and he benched his first and second. I think it was the heaviest bench he's done successfully in the competition, 727. And he jumped to 804 on a third. Now, I've only seen, I'm not stabbing at him at all, but I was surprised that he went up to 804. Just based, I was on the side at that point, judging from the side, and based on his second attempt at 727, I was like, okay, that's okay. He's getting up there. And then he jumped to 804, and I was like, whoa, that's a little heavy for him. Oh, boy. He came down. He lost control, and the weight went back towards the rack. They caught it, put it in the rack, but when it came back towards the rack, he actually broke his humerus bone down here near the elbow. Yeah. Oh. Now, he wasn't freaking out. He wasn't hooting and hollering. He was just sitting there. They cut him out of his singlet and cut him out of his shirt and pulled it off, and he walked off the platform like a fucking champion, like a man. And the squad showed up and put him in all this ice and wrapped him up and shit. And then when the deadlift came around, he came out there with a singlet on, with his one arm, and deadlifted the bar. I gave him his down call. He completed the meet. What a fucking trooper, dude. He literally broke his arm you wouldn't even have known. You would have guessed he just like tore a callus or something. He showed no emotion whatsoever. He walked past me off the platform. He was just kind of smiling like, I was like, dude. No, he actually broke his arm. He broke it down here, right down there at the elbow, and he completed the meet. Matt says, I talked to him yesterday. He said he broke his ulna. Oh, whoa. He broke his ulna radius and it tore the ligaments off his tricep and tore his bicep tendon. Jesus, fuck. That just turned like several pages into the bad. So he broke, my bad. Let me backtrack. He broke his ulna, his radius, so both lower arm bones are broken, and it tore the ligaments off his tricep and tore his bicep tendon. It was way nastier than it looked as. So think about all that and everything I was just talking about, his demeanor and the way he was acting afterwards. That is way more traumatic than I thought it was. Christ. Whoa. Well, I thought he just broke his humerus down here. No, he broke both lower arm bones. Oh. Damn, dude. Damn. So, I mean, I'm not going to be selfish. Like, if he doesn't host at Hillbilly Havoc in February because of that shit, like, I'm not going to be upset whatsoever. I wouldn't anyway because I'm not a bitch, but, like, whoa. Yeah. Manliness and motivation says, does he have to have a special singlet for those balls? Man, that just... Now, it wasn't like a compound fracture. I do know that because nothing was jutting out of the skin. It looked normal. Like I would have thought if he, because I've seen broken like forearms before where they snap more down here, and like it's like woo, like it like folds and it has this weird dip in it and stuff. But no, he was just sitting there all normal, and they just cut him out of his shit and they just took him off. He walked off the platform. Yeah, singlet with XL ball space. So yeah, Chris Jividen, don't forget that name. IPA state sheriff of West Virginia, WPO competitor himself, great dude, just overall great guy, and showed some real fucking character here at the IPA Worlds this past weekend. Wow, I did not know it was that bad. Okay, Matt Brooks says, I think the Marhefkas are going to help him run it. Okay. That's the Hillbilly. I might be there for that one. I'm thinking about competing at that one. That'll be kind of like my getting back into competing meet. Definitely won't be going for like 1,500 pounds at that meet this early, even though that's 4.5 months away. But that'll be my like returning to competition. So I'm thinking about it. I am thinking about it. I had a question up here about knee wraps I saw. Oh, yeah. Bryce says, may I ask why you don't like knee wraps? They're just painful, dude. And that might sound stupid, but like I've never liked them. I don't like the way tight knee wraps feel. I could put light ones on. That's fine. But having someone crank, 3-meter knee wraps on each knee, like I don't like it. It's distracting. It's so painful for me that it's distracting. Now remember that being that I've benched 1,400 pounds and I've had 1,463 in my hands. 1,506, actually. I keep forgetting about that lift. So remember that. And remember, I hate the pain of knee wraps. And I find it highly distracting, especially when I'm in like full equipment. Now, when I was doing a little bit of raw squatting like 3 years ago, I didn't mind them as much, because that's all I had to worry about. It wasn't like knee wraps and briefs and suit with straps up and belt. I'm like, there's so many things going on that like it was a distraction for me, and I wasn't squatting properly because I was just distracted by the pain in my fucking legs. So that's why. That is why. Let's see. Ludwig says, what's the most you've hit with the reverse grip? I'm using it now, and I almost prefer it to the standard bench grip. Well, you're not alone, Ludwig. That's a fairly common thing that I see, a very common pattern that I see with teaching people how to reverse grip. Yeah, I've benched. The most I've had in my hands reverse grip was 900 pounds for a triple in a Widowmaker. Now, it's all about pain tolerance. And I forgot to mention, I hosted a bench seminar at the meet after weigh-ins on Friday. I gave a whole segment on reverse grip. And I said it's all about pain tolerance. Like, why if it's a superior grip, why don't you compete with it? I said that's a good argument, but I said I can tolerate 1,400 pounds distributed across the hand this way. When you put the bar vertical in the hand this way and all that weight sitting right there on that bone, it's way more painful. So it's all about pain tolerance. But 900 pounds for a triple, in a Widowmaker. Pretty happy with that. And I'll be goddamn son of a bitch. Rodney is actually on here right now. Congrats, Rodney. Again, I didn't get to talk to you in person much. I don't like speaking to people while they're competing. He says knee wraps are the worst. What a pain in the ass. Coming from the man who just squatted 1250 with no knee wraps. So thank you, Rodney, for hopping on. I appreciate that. And coming from myself, and I think everybody else on here, huge congrats on the 4th highest total of all time and the 4th highest squat of all time, pretty sure. Huge congrats to you. That is quite an accomplishment. And Super D, I know, is really proud of you. I saw his post about you, and Lead FTS, of course, as well. Roddy's on here. That's awesome, man. Good to have you on. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Thomas says, let me find it right here. Thomas says, Jim, you know how you do those cable side pulls for rear delts? I found out when you extend your tricep, harder to cheat from scaps, and your range of motion ends approximately at your Y grip bench. Oh, okay. He says, I saw Tom Shepard talk about rear delt sideway pulls with a supinated grip to target rear delts even more. Going to try that. I like Tom Shepard. I think he's an awesome guy. Very, very smart. Him and Naomi are awesome people. That's okay. Supinated grip. Very good. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that. I have to bookmark that one. Bryce says, I just bought 2-meter Inzer knee wraps. Opinion on you on the youth wanting to powerlift, trying to get sponsor to do it for my school. I gotta read that twice. I just bought 2-meter Inzer knee wraps. Okay, opinion on the youth wanting to powerlift. Okay, first part, Inzer knee wraps. I hope you enjoy them. In my opinion, Inzer sucks, but I hope you get a lot of use out of them and they serve you well. That's the first part. Second part, opinion on the youth wanting to powerlift. I don't think it's great. I think it's better than them getting into trouble and doing drugs and shit. I mean, that's wonderful. It's a great sport to get into, and it's treated me well over the last 20 years. I started at 14, so take inspiration from that. I didn't start at 11 or 12. I started at 14 because my mom was paranoid about stunting growth. And doing her own research, and again, I'm a fucking kid. What do I know? She did her own research and found that the prime age for someone to start without the risk of stunted growth, but it might be an urban legend. I don't think it's actually real, but back then she believed it, and 14 is when I started. If she would have let me start earlier, would I have? Absolutely. I'd always wanted to, I grew up watching, reading comics and watching cartoons and seeing all the superheroes. I wanted to be that when I was a kid, and I wanted to lift weights and get big. So that's really great. And trying to get sponsored to do it for my school. Trying to get, I think you mean, I don't understand that last part. If you want to elaborate, you're trying to get a sponsor to help with youth with lifting weights. Is that what you mean? Terry Conjugate says, can't judge you for not liking knee wraps. I've been squatting and competing in them for 13 years, and they do help, but they're also so tough to handle in contests time-wise. Yeah, that's another thing. Once you get into, multiply suit and briefs and stuff, it's like the last thing I want to do is put fucking knee wraps on. Like, it's so constrictive to begin with and hard to walk and move in and perform. And you got the distraction of these extraordinarily painful knee wraps. Like, fuck that shit. Fuck that. Oh, Ronnie says, thank you. Thanks for coming out Saturday. That dude, I'm happy to see you like always. I didn't get to see you often enough when we still lived in Virginia. Now we're unfortunately, I told you that we're long gone, moved. But yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to the next time you hit the platform because it was a pleasure to watch. And I was glad I could head judge and be a part of it. Be a part of history there. Let's see here. Terry says, I'm squatting in these sleeves next month for IPA Worlds, and it feels like I'm going on a vacation. Training sessions are so much easier, and my recovery time is cut in half. All right, yeah. I understand that. Yes, Thomas, please do that for me. He says, I'll look up the post and DM it to you about the supinated grip because I need to work on rear delts a lot. He says, Tom has helped me bust my 1 year squat wall. And forever grateful to that man. Yeah, Tom and Naomi are just awesome people. And now that they're living in the States, get to pop over to Lead FTS once in a while and hang out and see them. Let's see here. Ludwig says, 900 for a triple. That's crazy. I remember seeing you hit 545 reverse grip raw a few months ago on the members page. It flew up like 135. Yeah, I was just fucking around. I don't like doing that very often. I don't like benching raw because it's just you're just playing with fire. Okay. I just don't like doing that. That's why I don't do it very often anymore. So, well, thank you. Yeah, 900 pounds for a triple. I might still do this. It's on my bucket list, so just keep that in mind. This is a bucket list item, but I do want to at some point use my reverse grip in a shirt and get on the platform and bench $1,000. That is one bucket list item that I have. Just to do it, make it official. Like, not that it's a record or anything, but just get an officiated reverse grip bench at 1,000 pounds or more on the platform at some point. So we will see that eventually. And it's going to be a while. I got other things to fry right now. Gotta get this last benchmark, and then I'll play with other things later down the road. I knew what you meant, Thomas, with plateau, not platform. Manliness and Motivation says, my shoulders don't like raw benching either. Dude, like, you tear your pec. Every time you see somebody tear a pec, what are they doing? They're benching raw. Or fuck up a shoulder. What are they doing? They're benching raw. And if I do that, fucking around in the gym, now I can't compete at all. And I'm not going to recover from that very fast being natural. It's going to take 6 months to a year to become normal again. And not willing to do that. I'm going to do things the way I want to do them because it's that's what life's all about, right? Mike Chapman says, I squat in the Anderson Armour sleeves and I love them. I think they give almost as much support as a loose knee wrap. I have heard similar things, Mike. The Anderson Armour sleeves, they came out just a couple of years ago. They debuted at the Arnold Classic, actually. And right now, ironically, talking about Anderson Powerlifting, we have a code for you, Kolbstrong, my Instagram handle. That's KOLBSTRONG, one word. To the 15th of this month, you got about a week left. Till the 15th, that code saves you not 10%, but 15%. So 15% discount up to the 15th. That's easy to remember. Normally, it's good for 10% off anything in the store. Anderson Armour sleeves, F8 bench shirts, Anderson singlets, knee wraps, belts, anything you can think of. Liquid chalk, regular chalk, ammonia. We have it all at AndersonPowerlifting.com. Kolbstrong will save you 10% normally, but until the 15th of this month, saves you 15%. So check out AndersonPowerlifting.com. Use that code, that Kolbstrong code, get you a nice discount. That is awesome. I'm glad you like your Anderson Armour sleeves. We created those to combat the Pioneers, those Inzer ones that all the USAPL kids wear. Is meant to rival those, not just on quality and strength, but also in price. I'm pretty sure they started at $99. I think they've come down a little bit. Check the website out. I don't recall exactly what they are now, but I do know they're not 150. They're not 140. They were 99. That was one of the biggest things, was to bring down the price, have a competitive product that's Anderson made with the quality and the speed of Anderson Powerlifting, of course. If they have what you need in stock, you'll have it in days. Not weeks, not months like some of the competitors, but you'll have them in days. Promise you that. Mike Chapman says 75 a set now. Thank you, Manliness and Motivation, for the same thing. 75 right now. They went down from 99 to 75 bucks. So 75, someone do the math for me. 15% off $75. What is that final price going to be? If you use my code until the 15th, your Anderson armor sleeves will go from 75 to how much, guys? How much will that be? I'll take a swig while I wait on you guys to math that for me, because I don't math very well. Let me just mute this. You don't have to listen to my slurp noises. Thank you, Thomas. 64. Okay, that's $64 something, around 64, 65 for Anderson armor sleeves. 63.75. Thanks, guys. There you go. They're awesome. I don't have a pair. I don't squat, so like, you know, but I love my elbow sleeves. I use those for triceps a little bit here and there. 63.20. Very close. It's somewhere in the 63 to 64 range. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, yeah, there you go. I wanted to plug that a little bit. Thank you, Shane. Nice plug for 15%. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the math. Let's see. Thomas says, I'm looking to buy some merch off your site too, Jim, but how do the sizes fall on people like the 3X, for example? So if I buy 5 different XL brands, all 5 fit different. I mean, yeah, that's about normal. I wear 3X of my own shirts. I wear 3Xs. It's pretty real size. It's not like after you wash it, it'll shrink or anything like that. We use Gildan. And now we've had problems with like Hanes. The Hanes shirts pissed me off because I made some Hanes shirts for myself, and they were 3Xs, and I washed them, and then they came up to here on me. They turned into crop tops. Pissed me off. I did really good on those shirts. So no, our 3Xs, our actual sizes, are pretty damn consistent. So yes, your XL will fit as an XL. My 3X fits as a 3X. But yeah, besides the IPA Worlds, man, I mean, I had a good week of training and everything. We drove down on Friday, hosted a seminar. Thank you, Matt Brooks, for letting me do that. And IPA Worlds was Saturday, and then we came home Sunday, or we actually came home Saturday night. Hit the gym Sunday, hit the gym Monday. We're off today, which is why we're on here benching and bullshitting with y'all. And then we'll be in the gym Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll be headed to Rob's on Sunday. We're going to bench at Rob's this coming weekend. So it's going to be cool. We'll see what happens up there and make something happen. Of course, you can follow along, like I mentioned before, if you want to see all the training we do behind the scenes. It is all on Patreon for $10 a month. All that training leading up to that elusive 50. Not that it's elusive like I've tried it in the meet before. It's just elusive because it's such a fucking astronomical number, and I'm intimidated by it. But training for 1,500 pounds has begun. It is on patreon.com if you want that banner one more time. I talk about it a lot. I'm really passionate about it. I've been building Patreon for 5 years. And I've had people in there for all 5 years. I've had people in there for 3 years, 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, 1 week. We sign on one day and cancel that exact same night. I don't know. Some people just do that shit. But overall, yeah, really excited about that. Been building it up for a long, long time. Shut up, Shane. It's not a pretty sight, so get out of here, he says. Thomas says, Gildan shirt. I'll see if I can find some sizing charts of that. And the DVE8356 says, I like Gildan blanks. Their sizes are solid. So thank you for adding to that, of course. Yeah, we like Gildan. I don't like Hanes. I don't like... what are some other popular ones? Shirts that are really silky. They kind of like stick to you. I don't like that at all. I like cotton, like cotton blend, which is what I'm wearing here. With the Powerlifting Den shirt, did their podcast sometime earlier this year, late last, and had a good time with that. So thank you for them. Mike Chapman says, knowing you'll smoke 1500 and make it look easy. Thank you for saying that. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I think it's going to be atrocious. I think it's going to tell you what, man, like as adjusted as I was to 14, I say was because I haven't been underneath it in a while. It's going to take a little bit of time to get back there, but going to the meet and doing it on the platform is, I can admit this even at my level, like training in the gym and doing it on the platform are two completely different things. They just are. You're in a different environment. You're wearing a singlet. Your head spotter cannot be, right there on top of you. Although some meets allow that. I think it's bullshit. But your head spotter has to get out of the way, I said the same thing when I did the rules meeting at the IPA Worlds. I'm like, hey, and now I'm going to talk to you head spotters. I don't want to get into that. It's not good. It's negative stuff. Don't be negative. Don't be negative. Let's be positive. Back to what I was saying. This is a pet peeve of mine. Doing that shit in a competition is just not right. So yeah, doing it in the meet is so much different than doing it in the gym. I mean, like I said, there's so many. You're in your regular, you're in your norm, on your bench, your bar with your dudes and nobody else and no pressure. And if you fuck up, oh, well, you'll get it next week or you can do it on the next set. You don't have that luxury at the competition. It's so much different. It's so different. So hitting it in the meet, I mean, I wanted to hit it on one and done. Just get on the opener and just fucking go home. Didn't turn out that way. It's been over a year, and I can still just remember every single step I did and noise, and even as weird as like what the smells of the day, like what you just go to a gym and it just has its own unique like scent, and the drive to get there, what we did the night before in the hotel room, and all our friends being there, and the West Side guys showing up to watch, which are like, yeah, no fucking pressure, guys. Walked up to George Halbert, and I was like, hey, what you doing here, George? Oh, you brought Tony Ramos. Oh, you brought Jeremy Smith and a couple of others. Oh, Christ. Like, oh, we're here to watch you. I was like, how'd you know I was competing here? I didn't make it public. They're like, well, we found out. I'm like, oh, God damn. And I said, how far did you drive to get here? They're like, oh, about 7 or 8 hours. I'm like, well, no fucking pressure. So just all those things combined, man, it was a hell of a fucking day. Oh, Lord. God, another rabbit hole, man. This is it. This is benching and bullshitting, right? Hey, good day though. Oh, fuck. Didn't get on the opener. Had to go all 3 attempts to get it, but hey, it just, yeah, it was awesome. That one comment made me go on that entire rant. Thank you for saying so. I think 1,500 pounds is, I know it's possible because of my training right before we did our move. I handled it once in the gym. I know it's possible. It's going to take a golden ticket kind of day. Everything is going to have to be perfect. That's the thing too. There are so many factors when you're trying to bench these types of weights that have to be fucking perfect. It's actually quite irritating how many things have to be perfect. The bench width, how stiff the pad is. I don't like soft pads. I don't like Tempur-Pedic bench pads. I like firm bases to push from. So the height of the pad, how wide the pad is, how firm the pad is. Do I need sticky spray on my shoes if the carpet or the floor is not right? The barbell being used, is it strong enough to handle that much weight? Do they have enough kilos at the meet? Do they have spotter arms on the bench? I don't compete without spotter arms on the bench. I won't compete. That's irresponsible of me as a competitor and irresponsible as a meet director to not care enough about the lifters to have body savers on the bench. If I was the CEO of powerlifting, there is no such thing. But in a world where that was a real thing, I would outlaw any competition being held without the use, having the body savers there and them being actually used the way they're intended, adjusting them up and down for every lifter. It would be illegal to host meets without the use of those. But that's a fantasy land. CEO powerlifting does not exist. I'm just being picky. There's so many things that have to go just so right. And the higher in weight you go, the more and more important those little things are. How hot is it? Is it too warm? Are you sweating? How much salt am I getting in? If I'm sweating, I'm losing salt. I'm losing hydration. It just I could go on and on and on the list, but it's a big thing. It's a hardcore thing, man. Oh, let's see where we're at here. Oh, Annalise, thank you for the picture of your stitches. I don't think I saw those yet. Oh. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere, actually, Anna. I'm sorry. I don't see it on Facebook or anything. Well, I don't see it in text either. I sent you the ad from Facebook is all she said on text. I'll look at it in a little while. Let's see. Bryce says, opinion on multiply squat depth. I am a raw lifter. Educate me on why they squat so high. They squat so high because the gear is binding up and stopping them from hitting depth. Now, if they don't hit depth, then that means they get red lights. That's the rule book does not change from raw to equipped. You still have to hit parallel. So it's not like, now there are times, there are meet. This is why I became a judge, so that I could try to be a positive impact and see the sport grow in a positive manner. But there are meets that are held where multiply lifters squat high and they still get passed. That just happens. It's bad judging. It happens. It's not a perfect world. Nothing is. They squat high because they're getting stopped by their equipment. Now, again, to reiterate, that should mean on the platform, all reds, or at least 2 reds, failed lift. Now, sometimes it doesn't happen, and it's not great. It's not good for the integrity, but it's because of the equipment. So that's why. Manliness and motivation. I'm just going to call you Eminem. Says, my gym is hosting a meet in December. I will be benching on the bench I use every day. Well, fantastic. We wanted to do that at Unleash before we left. After I benched 14, Margot, she came up to me. She's Joe's wife, and she said, hey, when do you want to do your next meet? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I got to rest up. But maybe in a year or 6 months. She goes, well, is there anything preventing us from hosting a meet here? I was like, no. I mean, I never thought of that. That would be great. I would like, oh shit, I don't want to have to drive 8 hours to go to a meet to try to bench 15. If I could just do it in our own backyard. A lot of people do that, So yeah, that's great. That is awesome. That good. DVE says Halbert 733 at 220 was the craziest lift ever heard of at that time. Yes, him and Kenny Patterson were ahead of their times in the bench. He had just done 683 at 198 a few months earlier. I remember reading about both of those lifts in Powerlifting USA. Back in the golden age where we had Powerlifting USA magazine. Oh, man, I miss that shit. Oh, and I kick myself right in the sack every time I remember that I gave away or just lost almost every edition I've ever owned. Damn, man. Yeah, George Halbert. Great dude, real smart, very strong, just great guy. I love running into George. Eminem now says I had to use spotter arms Saturday after I hit the uprights. Yeah, I mean, you're just playing with fire if you're benching at max attempts or even sub-maximal weights and you're not using them. It doesn't happen very often, but how many more times do people need to have a bar land on their ribs or their sternum or their neck or their face? I've seen all 4 of those, actually. Ribs, sternum, 4. I've seen all of them. And it's not pretty, and people get hurt, and they break bones. They pulverize their soft tissue. Sometimes it gets even worse than that. And people still think that benching without them is a smart idea. It's not that it'll never happen. It's like, how long will it be till it does? I don't know if that's called Murphy's Law or not, but it does happen a lot. The bench is a very, very risky movement because you are, no matter where that bar goes, you are underneath of it the whole time. Squatting, you have your spine involved. Things get kind of bad with that. If you have a catastrophic accident, you got your spine involved with it. But, I think it's inherently a little bit less risky only because the bar can go over your head or off your back completely. Like that sucks. It can damage equipment. Other people can get hurt, like your spotters. Highly irresponsible. Do not dump bars off your back whether you're in the gym or especially at a meet when people are, we got 5 or 6 guys spotting you. That's putting their health at risk. But you can do that. I mean, if you're in an absolute dire situation, the bar will just land off of you, and then you're fine. But the bench, no matter where that bar lands, it is landing on something important. Abdomen, sternum, ribs, neck, throat, face, chin, teeth, forehead, across the nose. It's a risky movement, man. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many more times people need to tear pecs and drop bars on themselves and get hurt and dump these massive loads on themselves before they just realize like it's not a good idea to not use body savers. It's just like should be a common sense thing. I don't lift competitively or in training without them. I refuse. It's actually a rule between me and Katie that I never bench without them. I never will. Why risk it? Wow. Yeah, we've been going for quite some time. I've got about 5 minutes left. If you have any last minute questions, go ahead and pop them in. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and just do a couple of plugs really quick. I've talked a lot about Patreon and YouTube members, $10 a month. If you want to follow along and watch all the training that's going to commence here in the near future, leading up to the eventual attempt and the eventual completion of a 1.5 thousand pound bench, 3/4 of a US ton bench. I will be attempting that hopefully next year. Follow along with me on Patreon or YouTube members. I also have a website, kolbstrong.com, where you can find a lot more information about what we do. I have programs available there. I have coaching spots that are open as well. Check that out. I've got pre-written program spots as well as week-to-week spots, all on kolbstrong.com. We also have this Kolbstrong Scholarship, which is a 501c3 nonprofit or registered nonprofit organization where we raise money for the youth powerlifters. So 13 to 23, we raise money in 1,000-pound increments. So see how my brain thinks? $1,000 increments. For every $1,000 we raise, we sponsor one athlete of ages 13 to 23, as long as they're a competitive powerlifter with at least one verifiable meet under their belt. They qualify. Go to that website, KolbstrongScholarship.com, and you can fill out the form. You can read all about it, what we stand for, how much money we've raised. And between now and December 31st, we accept donations, and we also host events raising money for this event or for this nonprofit. January 1st through the 31st, they can send in their application. So they go to the website, follow the steps, do all the things they need to do, send us the applications, and then during the month of February, me, Katie, and a couple of others all review the entries. And then by March 1st or the first week of March, we are cutting $1,000 checks to who we pick, who needs it the most, to these young kids. So it's a really good thing to get into. And then there's just that banner one more time for Patreon. I am getting right about at the end of the segment of Benching and Bullshitting, episode 82. We should have a good training week. We're going to be at Blackstone's most of this week, and we're going to Rob Farrell's 814 barbell this weekend. So hopefully it goes well, and we bench super, super heavy. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you all for hopping on here. I've got no more last minute questions. Thank you to Blackstone's Gym. Thank you to my wife and family. Thank you to Shane and Kelly up at Gym Therapy in Louisville for accepting us in and letting us train there and bench with their amazing group of guys. And all my sponsors, of course, AndersonPowerlifting.com and F8 Customs. They are amazing people, good companies to get into. Use my code Kolbstrong for 15% off your order at AndersonPowerlifting.com right here behind me until the 15th of this month. If you do it past the 15th, it's 10% off your entire order, except for if you want to buy one of the F8 Sportcraft bench bars. The code does not work for the barbell. Anything else on the website, you're good to go. Otherwise, hey guys, I want you to have a good rest of your Tuesday night, a good Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'll see you next Tuesday with some, hopefully some big training news and some cool videos for you. So until then, have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.